everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Up to 10% of people have at least one alcoholic drink every single day. For many of us, becoming our healthiest and best selves means examining our habits. So one important area to consider is our relationship with alcohol. Even in small amounts, alcohol can have damaging effects on our physical and mental well-being. Alcohol is deeply ingrained in our society, making the decision to quit or cut back challenging. Our culture normalize drinking in social settings and often using it as a stress reliever or to celebrate special occasions. So this acceptance can make the journey of quitting alcohol a lonely one. And this is why we're so glad to chat on IG Live today with Carly Wood, a health coach and business mentor who helps moms with low-tox swaps. Carly has periodically been sharing her story about deciding to quit alcohol. So we decided to invite her on IG to share her story. So during this live, we are going to discuss the decision to quit drinking, how to handle peer pressure in social situations, things Carly discovered about herself after she gave up alcohol, and so much more. So she has. Hello, hi, Carly.
Hi, how are you?
How are you? So nice to see you.
I know, good to see you too.
Um, so this is a very special topic. We actually have never really touched alcohol before, so this is so awesome that you're able to share with us.
I am excited to be here. It's something that was hard to share about at first, but if I can help educate and bring awareness through my story, then I'm really honored to be here.
It's so awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, like how you became a health coach and a business mentor.
So, um, my story actually started 14 years ago. I actually lost my best friend in a boating accident, and it was at that point in my life where I was like, okay, I really need to channel working on myself and find healthier ways to work through and navigate my grief, or else I'm going to go down a really dark road. And that's what led me to this career path. It's what led me to empowering women and helping them, and it's what led me here. So yeah, it's been a long journey, but um, it's been inspiring.
Wow, that's tough. That's really tough.
Yeah, it was really hard. I actually like flipped a coin. I was like, heads, I'm gonna go on the boat with her, and tails, I'm not. And it was tails. So I had to work through like a lot of grief and a lot of heartache, and navigating that without a lot of tools in my tool belt is where I really started the beginning of this journey. So yeah.
Uh, You specialize in helping moms make low-tox swaps. Um, does being a parent tend to share a lot of the decisions that you shape a lot of decisions that you make?
Absolutely. And, I was fortunate enough to learn about healthier swaps and low tox living before I had kids. We went through IVF to conceive our kids. And when I was there in the waiting room, I would always say to my husband, I'm like, why are there so many women here? Why are there so many couples in this waiting room? And ironically enough, I went home and I grabbed a box of my tampons and I started to look what was in them, and there was bleach in them. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that moment started this whole journey for me. So it's really been a way that I've been able to educate myself also before having kids. So yes, absolutely.
Nice. So as a specialist in low-tox living, is there a natural connection between wanting to reduce your toxic chemical exposure, as well as limit the alcohol you intake?
Absolutely. That was a very big one for me, because before I had joined Hugh and Grace and really got into this space, I was drinking almost every night just to deal with stress, deal with motherhood, to relax, to wind down. It's what I thought people did. And it was so ingrained and conditioned in who I was to have alcohol at the end of the day. But then I was out of alignment by helping women become the best versions of themselves and make these low tox swaps for their families and for generations to come. It just didn't align. I was like trying to be somebody, but I was doing something else. And so it was really like a catalyst for change for me too.
Is that what you made you decide to quit drinking alcohol?
It was a big, big factor in it, but the 2 things that really helped me and made me quit alcohol was motherhood and really re-examining who I was on at, like, a soul level, and being in community and learning other women's story and knowing I wasn't alone. Because a lot of times we think we're alone in something like this, and realizing that, wow, there's a lot of women, successful women, moms, businesswomen, CEOs that turn to alcohol at the end of the day or use it to cope with stress. That to me, once I realized that, I was like, okay, I can do this. Like, I'm not alone in this.
That's so cool. You mentioned that starting 2024 as sober curious. What does that mean?
So I was sober curious for a long time, and I think there's some connotations with being sober, or I like to say alcohol free. I like to use words that kind of resonate with me. And while my story didn't involve rehab or a lot of trouble or things like that that forced me, to make this decision, it was I decided also to take the power back, because a lot of times we start something on a Monday or we start it on the first of the month, and it was in December, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna take my power back, and I'm gonna take ownership of this, and I'm gonna quit drinking at the end of December instead of waiting till January 1st." So before that, I was really I was fascinated with people who didn't drink, and like, what did they do? What It was just a whole different experience for me. So I really got curious about that aspect of it, and I was like, I'm doing it and making this decision.
That's so cool. How did you go about quitting alcohol altogether?
So I get this question a lot, and it's probably the number one question I get. And I actually sat in a coffee shop one day and I wrote out everything that I did, from my mindset to thinking about the thoughts that I was thinking. But one thing I really got clear on with this decision is why I was drinking. I needed tools in my tool belt to navigate, to heal, to have better coping mechanisms for those reasons. And so once I got clear on all of that, and then I started asking other women. Never forget this. I would ask other women who were sober, well, how did you do this? Like, how did you go to a wedding? How did you, go on a date night? What did you do? And so I really just almost like interviewed other women and learned from their stories too.
That's so cool. You had a great introspective reel that you said that you didn't know if you could do motherhood without booze. Why was that? And what was your sort of aha moment that this is going to work for you?
So I feel like it's ingrained in in our society and in who we are as moms, that we drink. You have a baby at the hospital and they're like, "Oh, now you can have wine." It's like, "You had a bad day. Here, have some wine. Oh, you're happy. Have some wine." It's like everything revolved around alcohol for me. And one thing in my parenting style is I really get on my kids' level and I teach them about emotions and I teach them how to navigate big feelings and like hold the space for them there. And a lot of times, I'm saying, we can be mad, we can't be mean, and things like that. And then I had this moment when I was teaching my kids this. I was like, wait a minute, I'm teaching them how to how to handle these big emotions and these big feelings. But at the end of the day, I'm not handling mine in a productive way. I'm drinking them away. And it was like, I was just so out of alignment with who I wanted to be and who I know I was at my core. I was so scared to make that step in quitting because of all of the thoughts and all of the drama that happened before quitting was worse than quitting. So
Okay, so then what were the things that you noticed about yourself after you quit drinking?
Oh my gosh. So a part of my drinking was I thought it helped my anxiety. Like, I really thought it helps, but what happened was is I would drink, I would have anxiety the next day, and then I would drink again. I thought it was something that was helping, but I was on this hamster wheel. So once I quit drinking, the anxiety completely went away. The only time I've ever had anxiety in the past year was around water and my kids, for obvious reasons, but normal mom awareness anxiety, not that debilitating thought creating, provoking anxiety. And then my confidence. It was really hard to start sharing about this because alcohol is taboo. There's a lot of gray area when it comes to drinking. We think that we have to be like an alcoholic on the street or someone who's in big trouble to have a problem with alcohol. But there's so many women who struggle with this. And so just learning that and knowing that really helped as well.
Tell us about like the success you found like since you quit.
Oh gosh, it's been phenomenal. I think the true success for me in all of this is showing my family and showing my kids and showing myself who I really am, and that even on my hardest days as a mom and in business, I always go back to if I can quit drinking, I can do anything. Like I can do anything I set my mind to. But I would say also the confidence to just use my voice for a place of good and helping other women. And then the coolest thing was seeing other women do this, reach out and say, I went on my first trip and I didn't drink, or you helped inspire me to put down alcohol in motherhood. It just things like that really make this whole journey so worth it for me. And just having my kids not grow up around alcohol too, I think really like feels good for my soul.
You tell people to give themselves like 6 months to make healthier habit happen. Like, why do you find that time frame works well for many?
So I think if you wanted to create a habit, for example, of walking every day, that can be achievable, I think, in 30 days. But when it comes to something like drinking, where we're using it maybe as a de-stressor, something to unwind, something to replace dealing with our emotions, you have to create a new neural pathway in your brain. You have to create and have new tools and new habits and formulate almost like a new identity, especially if you're so prone to drinking. Even if you're someone who just drinks on the weekend,
Mm.
it's like, how do you go out on a date with your spouse? How do you go to a brewery? How do you go to a kid's birthday? I mean, alcohol is everywhere. So I think in order to really figure out who you are, allow your body and your brain to heal and allow you to step into a place of like, oh, I can handle this. I just need different tools. I just need different ways to go about this. And I think creating that neural pathway in our brain takes a lot of time when it comes to something like this.
I think it's also hard for people to first making a decision to quit and then like to hold themselves accountable.
Yeah.
So many times it's really nice to have some guidance to work with someone and then also being in a community that supports this. So my next question is how can someone work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few different ways to work with me. You can always reach out to me on Instagram and we can connect. But I really, really am passionate about helping women make simple swaps for their family using low toxic products, and not just for themselves, but for generations to come, for our families. And also teaching women how to build this business too. But being able to show women, oh my gosh, we just got back from an event a month ago, and there was like a handful of women who did not think that they could go sober. They did not think they could attend. So being able to work with someone and show them that they can step into this, they're not alone, and that millions of women struggle with this, but then seeing them come out on the other side and, I've hit 100 days sober. I've hit 30 days. And it's like, it's just such a rewarding feeling to know that together we all have an impact on each other's stories and lives.
And you're a Hugh and Grace advocate. So what drew you to them and what's your favorite Hugh and Grace products?
What drew me to them was their story and their mission and their integrity. I actually flew out to Dallas before I signed up with them because I really wanted to see who they were and what they were about. I really wanted to get to know them. And it was there that I made the decision to join because it was just so authentic and so in line with who I was and who I am. And it was like the final piece to my no drinking puzzle, right? I signed with them and I was like, wait a minute, I am like really going knee deep in hormones and all of this stuff. It was like a breath of fresh air for me to put down the alcohol and pour into this. And I think we need to replace something with something positive as well. So for me, it was that. And my favorite product, I would say, is it's called the routine, but it has our Hydrate E Detox, our collagen, and our morning supplement. And I think if you've been drinking for a long period of time or even on the weekends, healing your body from the inside out and supporting your detox pathways, your liver, your hormones, um, is something that is so important. And these products are able to do that for you.
That is so cool. Anything else you'd like to share?
Oh gosh. Well, thank you so much for having me on here. But I think the one thing that I would love to share and leave people with is I truly believe, like deep in my soul, if I can do this, it is available to anyone. I was someone who was stuck on the hamster wheel, dealing with motherhood, dealing with my emotions, having drinks each night, thinking that that's just what people did. And knowing that there's a whole nother way, there's a whole nother community of successful, beautiful, amazing women, moms, business owners who are able to do this too. I truly just want to leave your followers in line with, if I can do this, they can too.
Thank you for sharing the inspiring story. And until next time, then.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
You too.